Yep, even after Civil War, I still feel like this one is the best Captain America. When this dropped, it was the most subversive film of the lot, both in plot and in execution. Actually switching genres for part 2, going from a retro cheese-fest adventure to a modern spy thriller, albeit with a bit more frisbee, subversion remains a common theme throughout this film, as midway through, a massive fixture throughout the entire continuity thus far is turned on its head. I won't go into spoiler territory regardless of how old this film is at this point, but let's just say it makes for quite a coincidence in regards to a certain comic book twist involving Captain America that would happen not that much later. This film is where it is because it uses the previous films as a jumping off point in spectacular fashion in a way that even Civil War didn't quite match. Winter Soldier subverts the entire series thus far and takes the thoroughly old-fashioned Captain America and places him firmly in a gritty modern setting with a dark, grounded, personal story. This is the kind of thing so many studios try to do and fail miserably. The Russo brothers knew exactly what they were doing here. Bringing a Golden Age character into modern times was always going to be a challenge, because he simply wouldn't fit in with the modern tone and ideals of the story. And rather than try to make him, they make the fact that he doesn't a huge part of his character. It just works. I don't say character arc, because Cap really doesn't have one. He's every bit the incorruptible good guy at the end as he is at the start. Normally, that would be a point to his detriment, but here, that's the point. And because of it, his character stands out all the more prominently. And mercifully, the fish out of water time displacement jokes that could easily have overpowered the tone of the film are kept to a good minimum. Sebastian Stan returns for a good run as the Winter Soldier, even if he's not in the film a huge amount, but then he's in it as much as he needs to be. Anthony Mackie is great as the Falcon, Cap's soon-to-be regular wingman, pun intended. Scarlett Johansson has the best chemistry she's had with anyone so far with Chris Evans here. You really get the impression that they've been working together for a good while. Her constantly ribbing him on his lack of any kind of a love life makes for some great dialogue, and I love the fact that there's not even the suggestion of a romance there beyond faking one to throw off pursuers. I mean, it's almost as if people of the opposite sex can actually be in the same place without the need for a will they won't they hanging over everything, if you can imagine such an apparently outlandish concept. Samuel L. Jackson is Samuel L. Jackson, all good there, and Robert Redford brings a lot of depth to what could easily have been a one-note bureaucrat character, and it all comes together for just an all-round great conclusion with a great cast. This is the film that, out of all of them on this list, I most hesitate to call a superhero movie, and it also illustrates just how arbitrary a distinction that is. I don't think it's been particularly right to call the superhero genre a genre for a while now, because they come across a large number of genres, but this is the one for which the distinction feels the most arbitrary. You could easily describe it as a sci-fi spy thriller, there just happens to be comic book characters in it. So many things in this film on paper should not work, and they make it work. Realistic, dark and gritty is a popular approach that more often than not just ruins an adaptation in a misguided attempt to be serious. Here though, not only does it work, it does so without compromising Captain America as a character. He is comic book goodness incarnate, and contagious to that effect towards the rest of the movie. I'll say again, this should not work, and yet it does. I use the word subversive a lot, but it really is the operative here. And it does all of these things in a 2-hour runtime that never feels long. I could gush about this one forever. In a couple of drafts of this list it was number 1, but my top 5 or even my top 10 could be in any order any day, honestly. This is just how I felt at time of writing. The Winter Soldier is my favourite Captain America film, and it does so well what I've seen so many other studios fail so badly at, that it has to be high on the list. And you don't even need to be that versed in the series to enjoy it, so definitely see this one if you haven't.